Hey, so in today's video we'll be talking about books that basically have relationships that would go on if there wasn't this troublemaker in between. So basically they're all the books that just make you suffer and will be doing so until the heroes have their happy endings. I just want to say that for this video I didn't put also the paranormal stuff like vampires falling in love with humans and all that jazz, just because I just think I made some videos about those things. I do love that stuff, so I will probably be doing one of those too if you want it. But yeah, without further ado, let's start. First book in this list is The Tenant of Wiltful Hall. So The Tenant of Wiltful Hall, The Tenant of Wiltful Hall by Anne Bronte talks about a Helen Graham. Anyway, it's set in Regency times and talks about Helen Graham, who flees her household and her drunkard husband, and she flees with her son, and she basically exiles herself at Wiltful Hall, where she is under an assumed name and she has the job of a painter. There she meets this young man who attracts her, and she wishes she could bend her morals and just be someone else for like a second a day. But she couldn't, because if her husband found her and if he found her with another man, it would be the end of her and it would also ruin her name. Next book is The Daughter of the Forest by The Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marillier. So it's a retelling of the Six Swans and the Children of the Lair, and it basically talks about Soha, this lovely girl who is the daughter of Lord Callum, I think is his name. Lord Callum, and she has her 7 brothers and her mother, but then she's bereft of her mother dies, and soon after her father is bewitched by this woman who is told to be a witch. And she's not only told to be a sorceress, but she actually is, because she binds her brothers with this terrible spell that makes them into swans. Soha is the only one who can lift this spell off by being silent and weaving 7 shirts for her 7 brothers. While doing so, she leaves her house and she's kidnapped by the enemies of 7 Waters, but then unexpectedly love blossoms, and she struggles with her brothers and also to feel whatever this first love has to offer, but how to do so when you don't even have a voice of your own to speak. Next book is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I haven't read this yet, but because my sister bought this to me for Christmas, but I really want to read it. It really intrigues me, this book. Anyway, let's go to the plot. Basically, Rebecca talks about this shy young woman who is basically unnamed in this book. That's the funny thing about this book. There is no name for the heroine. She is always referred as the girl, as blah blah blah. There is never a name in this book for her. And it talks about this shy girl who is beguiled by this handsome, wealthy man, and one thing leads to another, and she finds herself marrying him. And she feels like she's stepped into one of her own daydreams, but then as they arrive at his Cornish mansion, things change. Maxim changes, her husband, and she understands shortly after that it's not as she would have expected, because there is something or someone looming still over his life and over his mansion, everything. And also Maxim is haunted by the memory of his beautiful last wife, Rebecca. Eyre, the name of the book. And by the way, just wanted to add, fun fact, that Tolerated by Taylor Swift was based off this book over here. And my genius of a sister, when she bought this book, she wrote, in fact, inside of the book, a lyric from the song. I know love should be celebrated, but you tolerate it. So this is a gothic novel, and it was written, I think, in the late 40s, and I just can't wait to read it. It just seems so interesting. Next book is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This kind of resembles Rebecca, or should I say that Rebecca resembles Jane Eyre? Yeah, Rebecca kind of resembles Jane Eyre. Anyway, Jane Eyre talks about Jane Eyre, who is an orphan girl, young, who has never had any friends, has never had a family, a home for herself. She is taken to be the governess for an 8-year-old girl at Thornfield Hall. And there she ends up falling in love with everything, falling in love with Thornfield Hall, with the people, and even with her master, Mr. Rochester. And so she finds herself a friend, perhaps something more of a friend. But she soon finds out that everything is so mysterious around Thornfield Hall and also around Mr. Rochester himself, especially some secrets that he seems to hide and some mysterious events that happen while she stays at Thornfield Hall that leave her wondering what really is happening in there and what really is happening with Mr. Rochester. So that, I just want to say that this is one of my favorite books, period. And last but not least is Siren by Eyre. This is the only young adult in this list, basically, but that doesn't make it any less beautiful than the others. Siren talks about a fairy, no, I'm kidding, about a siren. The last thing Kaylin remembers is drowning in the arms of the ocean. The next thing is being at the servitude of the ocean for 100 years. She is the siren, and only by the sound of her voice a human could die. But then she meets Kinley, this sweet boy who cares about her, and she wishes she could just talk to him and say to him how she feels and everything, if only her voice wasn't super deadly to him. Well, these are all the books I want to say today. I hope you enjoyed this list. Really interesting to just hear how it will be solved and if there is a solution for everything. But anyway, that's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you stay until the end. And that's all from me. Bye.